Hey YouTubers, Grimmy here, and this is the video review for the Transformers Generations Minicon Assault Team. This is one of the waves from earlier in the year. But you have three Minicons: Shear, Runway, and Heavy Tread. And boy, it's kind of hard to remember all their names. I actually had to pull out the instruction booklet for this review to actually remember them all. It's unfortunate, but the comic doesn't really have any names for any of them in it, and you really can't even see any of the Minicons seen here in that comic. Although it has a real nice cover art of the combined form Centurion. There are Minicons, or Animites, as they're called, in the comic. They're just very inspecific about who's who. So I guess it counts as having some reference to the characters that are included, which is better than nothing. But anyway, as far as their vehicle modes here, they're done nicely. And for Minicons, these guys are actually pretty big. That's going to be the first thing I get in there. And we're going to start with comparing them to an old school Minicon, like this little VTOL thing. Gotta back this up a bit. And we got Armada spark plug. Armada Ramjet. So, as you can see, these are really big Minicons. So, I mean, honestly, they're definitely would be somewhere between Legion and Commander class for the Cyberverse lines. So, I mean, they're bigger than Legion class, but somewhat smaller than the Commander class. So kind of an in-between on that. Anyway, as far as the Minicons themselves go, they're actually pretty nice. You got Heavy Tread here, the tank, mostly in black with green treads, a green cannon and a green cowcatcher. Turret does not move. Unfortunately, it's just the way it was designed. But he does roll nicely. Then you got Runway, a jet. Looks pretty nice. Can't really complain. Yeah, you can see everything underneath. What else is new? But yeah, you got some nice little Minicon symbols tampoed on. Heavy Tread had the same thing. And you can actually have the turret look down at least. So that's something. And last but not least, Shear, the helicopter, who has this really big gun. And that, like I said, that is a really, really big gun for a tiny helicopter to have. But it does fit on nicely, and it mounts at the right spot, so I can't fault it too much. The propeller spins, as does the little one. Kind of hard to show with one hand, but still. Yeah, but all in all, these guys do look pretty nice. And I would say it's worthwhile to have them. And they are compatible. They have Minicon ports on them. So you can actually plug them into Armada figures or the their Wavemate Starscream, the Armada Starscream at least. So they can work. Armada Starscream's currently in storage, but I do have an Armada toy that is readily available. Well, Energon toy, but he's faced like he's a repaint of an Armada toy, and it's Tidal Wave. So let's just show these off. As you can see, they got the ports right on the bottom, which just plug into these little pegs here. And voila. Fits in like a glove. You can even activate Minicon features with them. So yeah, you can actually use these guys to activate the Minicon features on most of the old Armada toys. And Heavy Tread will just fit on like so. Actually, Heavy Tread looks great on Tidal Wave's arm. It's like a mini handgun. Yeah, so they are fully compatible with Armada toys, which is a nice which is nice. I do like it. And I do like the fact that they're in the same way as a guy who can actually use, like, attach to them. So, yeah, Hasbro made a right choice when to release these guys. But I think it's time we got them into robot mode and see how they look there. And now we have our Minicons in robot mode. And they are pretty impressive. Again, they're roughly about Legion class size. You know, a little bigger than your standard Minicon. Yeah, I'll just give me a minute. But they are nice sized, looking pretty good. And they do look like a unit with the unified colors scheme. No, so yeah, it looks great. For size comparison with a more standard Minicon, well, here's Sparkplug, who's, you know, just the right size for a standard Minicon. And you can see he's half the size of these guys. I mean, if you think that's just a fluke, well, they say think again, and I'll show you for certain. Because, yeah, Minicons were a lot smaller than these three. Like this one right here, whose name I have no idea. You know, and last but not least, we'll compare him with Ramjet. So yeah, these Minicons are smaller than the standard ones, or the older ones. And we'll use a Micron from the ARMS Micron line, or, well, actually that's Styler from Chrome Domes, but, you know, he was an ARMS Micron originally. Oops. And last but not least, a Minicon from Power Corp Combiners, which looks to be just as tall as Shear, but a lot less bulky. So yeah, I mean, these guys were large for Minicons, which I guess is okay. You know, can do a little more, They got ball joints and can have accessories of their own, which is nice. Articulation's pretty basic. Forward, like ball jointed shoulders on wind shear, ball jointed hips, and really deep knee bends. And that's it. Heavy tread is a little more basic. He has ball jointed shoulders. Of course, they're set in so deep you can't get up and down movement. And he has forward back on the hips. And then you got Runway here, who has ball jointed shoulders, ball jointed hips, and nice deep knee bends, and a little toe articulation. But you know, that's all they got for articulation. And each of them has a weapon, which is a part of their vehicle mode. You'll notice that Wind Shear has that front-mounted machine gun. Heavy Tread uses his tank turret. And Runway, interestingly enough, uses his jet thrusters as a dual-barrel blaster. You may also notice that these guys are sized differently. Wind Shear's the smallest, Heavy Tread's in the middle, and Runway's the tallest. Another interesting thing is that Wind Shear is actually classified as a female. So, you know, hey, we've got female Minicons too. Yay! But, yeah. Individually, they're not bad. I think they work out okay. Considering you're getting 3 of them for the price of a deluxe, that's not bad. And they combine. And I think it's about time we got into the combined mode. So let's take a look at that. Okay, and Power Extreme! Okay, yeah, wrong show. But yeah, his name is Centurion. This is the combined form of the Minicon Assault Team. And it's actually a nice looking robot. And for the most part, it is a strong combiner. For articulation, he does have ball jointed hips and hinged knees. You do have to get these like robot arms out of the way to bend a knee though. But they actually are they got a pretty good range of motion to them. He has ball jointed shoulders, hinged elbows, no waist, and no head movement though. So yeah, he's got his limits, but you could probably still get a couple good poses out of him, which is nice. So yeah, unfortunately, the way they have the helicopter blades positioned on right behind his head, it's kind of hard to get him to stay where they should. That's a minor thing. He does hold together quite well. Like, you know, I can hold it by wind shear and it's not going to fall apart. Like the connections are solid, which is a nice thing that, and unfortunately uncommon with most combiners these days. You know, most will, well, not all of them, but some of them will fall apart easy if you pick them up the wrong way. Even with the third-party ones. Of course, they have a heavy weight too, so guess it's just a matter of getting the right item, or getting the right one. But yeah, in all honesty, this little combiner is a pretty nice little setup. I wouldn't consider the Minicon Assault Team to be the most vital addition to your collection, since it's just a batch of Minicons and there's no real history behind it other than the history of the Minicons as a whole. And the fact that it can work with Armada Starscream and all the Minicon ports on them. But there's no real direct history with these particular characters. Not even in the IDW verse. So, yeah, get them if you want them. I've heard a lot of stories about people buying a lot of these guys, trying to make them to super combiners of some kind. I don't know how well that turned out, but yeah, you can try that. But for me, this is enough. And, you know, it's a cool little combiner. I do like it. So, I think it was worthwhile to get. Anyway, I do hope you've enjoyed this little review. And I'll see you next time. So, take care, have fun, and so long.